Hi, and welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
Let's get right to it, Jim. This week was devastating for Canada, I thought. Team Canada at the World Junior Championships, they were up 3-0 going into the third, ended up losing 5-3 to the Russians. Huge comeback by the Russians, 5 unanswered goals. What happened there, Jim?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that the two quick goals there just
11 seconds.
took the wind right out.
Killed them.
I know it took the wind out of my sails,
Oh,
but
God.
that was a different team we saw in the third period, both Russia and Canada.
Yeah.
And, oh, man, I'm still...
I was sitting on my couch, and, I'm like, so it's 3-0 going into the third. I'm like, oh, good. It's been a dominant game. I'll just watch a few more. I watched the 2 goals in 11 seconds, and I almost couldn't do it anymore. I'm like, no, don't do it. I did. I turned the channel. I come back, and it's 4-3, and I'm like, oh. I was so out of it. I don't know if someone should be affected that much by how.
Well, that's just it, right?
But
I'm sitting there feeling like I'm on the bench.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
Going, oh boy.
Yeah, just looking the same way that Ryan Ellis was looking at, just wide-eyed,
Yeah.
and then yeah.
And I wasn't comfortable until they got that third goal at Canada, because they scored 1. I thought, well, it's nice to get a goal, but they scored 2, and I thought, well, that's not a very safe lead.
No.
They get 3, and I go, okay, I can finally relax a little bit.
We might have a shot at this.
I get stressed watching these things, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And then they get 1, and I go,
yeah.
Before I can react, they've got 2.
Oh, God.
And then a couple of minutes later, it's all tied up. My palms are sweating. I don't know. Oh, boy, I can't deal with this stress.
Totally. I mean, I was the exact same way, and it was just who would have thought that team, the way they played, Team Canada, the way they played, that 5 goals against in 1 period, not just a whole game, 1 period. That was just unfathomable. It was absolutely brutal. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and like I said, different team in the third period there, and it looked like we watched an all-star team in the first 2 periods, and then I don't know what in the third, but oh boy, they looked defeated.
Exactly. There is a silver lining, though, Jim. It looks like they've released all the pools for next year's tournament that's taking place in Edmonton and in Calgary. And so Canada and USA are going to be in the same pool next year. So there's going to be a game probably in Edmonton with Canada playing the US. So, I mean, redemption edition again.
Yeah, well, if you have the money for one of those priority draw packs, and you're in luck. I don't know. I'll watch it on TV, but it'll be nice to know that it's happening nearby.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm just saying that the start to the gold, can start in Edmonton next year, and hopefully we can get something going there. I mean, I put in for those tickets, Jim? I don't know if I can afford it, but I put my name in. We'll find out next week if I actually got anything. It'd be nice. But you viewers out there, if you're looking for a great Norway-Kazakhstan lineup, look at this guy. I got tickets. I'm just saying. So fan voting is complete ahead of the NHL All-Star Game coming up here in a little bit. Of the 6 players voted in, surprise, surprise, 4 of them are Pittsburgh Penguins, 2 of them are from the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, I've said before in this show what I feel about fan voting. I think it's stupid. I think it's ludicrous. But would you like to see the fan? Well, what do you think of the picks first? And would you like to see fan voting changed a little bit to more reflect what's happening in the NHL, Jim?
Well, I guess one thing we can be happy about is that Yao Ming didn't get voted in.
Yeah, that's right. In the
because
NBA.
I heard he was leading for centers, but at the last second, it's unfortunate that it doesn't kind of reflect more on what's going on in the NHL. I mean, you're Dustin Byfuglien's, he's having an unreal season, easily, captivating, more captivating than Chris Letang.
Yeah.
But Chris Letang's having a good season too, but to see it 4 players from Pittsburgh and 2 more from Chicago, players that aren't necessarily, apart from Sidney Crosby, having the best seasons of their career.
And Chris Letang was a write-in candidate too, eh?
Yeah. And I mean, Malkin's good, but he's under a point a game. Like, there's players out there that are probably more deserving of the fan votes, and I guess shame on the fans of their team for not voting them in.
Well, yeah, and is that it? I mean, is it for the NHL or the NHLPA to change how they do the All-Star fan voting, or
Well, I mean, it's 6 players, and probably a few of them would have been in anyways. But it's just I just find it a little disappointing that there isn't a bit more variety, especially given how many good players and how many players are having in the NHL are having great seasons. Yeah. Players that are kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but they'll all be there in the end. But
yeah. Have they said yet, Jim, who the 2 captains are going to be for the All-Star teams?
Jeff, come on.
Like I said, we said it was going to be Sid Novi, but I've also heard Lidstrom possibly.
Well, the 6 players come in, right?
Yeah.
And then they bring in the 36 players, the NHL does, and those players will vote on the captains right away.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. And then we have that fantasy draft. That is going to be awesome.
You like it, eh?
I can't wait to see that. It's going to be more fun than the All-Star game. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Great.
I hope I'm picked. That's all.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of All-Stars, Sidney Crosby is the cream of the crop right now. He's really kicking it out there, playing kind of point a game, more 2 points a game. But there are 30 players between him and Malkin there we were talking about earlier. What about Dustin Byfuglien? Yeah, you were saying earlier, why wasn't he a writing candidate? And Tim Thomas, right? He was instead of Flower out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there's countless players that they could have gotten, and would have made it more exciting and a little more fun for everyone, not just Pittsburgh.
Exactly. We're going to move on now to the Gabbies. This is the good and bad by you. We take submissions about who you think the best and the worst stories are in the world of sport, and then we put them up here. First on the good is our good friend Mike Tyson is getting a TV show called Taking on Tyson. It's actually about his dedication to raising pigeons, Jim. We're calling this a good because it's going to be interesting to see what's going on in Mike Tyson's brain. One of the biggest people in sport, in the past 30 years. It's going to be interesting. It's just raising pigeons and not about him boxing.
Yeah, and if you didn't know that about Mike Tyson, the guy raises pigeons. Yeah. One of the most ruthless fighters of all time.
No kidding, a mean man.
Raises pigeons. I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think that's I hope I get it on TV. It's on the Animal Channel Planet or something. I don't know, but
I just don't know how that can go past one season, Jim. I mean,
I think it's only a 6-episode thing.
Oh, thank God.
And then they're hoping HBO picks it up for a 24/7.
That's right. We got
24/7
music.
Pigeon poop.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, with a 3-0 win over the Sharks this past week, Buffalo's Lindy Ruff reaches the 500-win plateau, only the 16th coach in NHL history to do so, only the second coach to do it with the same team. He's also played for the Buffalo Sabres. He's been the captain. What do you think of that? That's awesome.
Oh, I love it. I like Lindy Ruff. I love that Buffalo has stuck with him over, thick and thin. He's a good coach, and you can see that by his international resume as well. The guy's a good coach. I like that, he played for Buffalo, the captain of the team. He came back and coached it. It's a good story all around. Yeah. I mean, I just think it's fantastic.
Joins Toe Blake.
Toe Blake.
As the only guys to do it with the same team. That's pretty good company.
Yeah, it is pretty good company. Yeah, exactly. We're going to skip our third on the good side of the Gabbies. We'll come back to it here a little bit later. But on the bad side, 2 members of the NBA's and Memphis Grizzlies got into a fight or a tussle on team charter this past week over a gambling debt racked up by playing cards. A lot of teams play cards on the plane. The teammate... there's a possibility there was some hitting involved, and the game that they were playing is called Boo-Ray, and it's the same game. I love this stat, or this fact. It's the same game that started the chain of events that led to Gilbert Arenas to bring guns into the Washington Wizards locker room. The team has since banned in-flight gambling. This is such a great story.
Yeah, so they've banned Boo-Ray players from team flight, so I guess they'll just have to watch DVDs.
Yeah, or try to find some other way to do something. That's just hilarious. I just love
I think you missed my joke there, Jeff.
The Boo-Ray.
Boo-Ray players.
Oh, there it is.
Ah.
Look at this guy right here with the Boo-Ray and the DVD. Nice work.
But these guys are crazy.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I heard it was a couple $1,000 maybe.
Oh,
the
crazy.
gambling debt here, and the guy owing money is chirping.
Unbelievable.
Oh boy. Well, Sidney Crosby's out with a concussion, Jeff. And when that concussion happened is a point of contention. A lot of us watching the Winter Classic saw him get smoked by David Steckel. He was hit back into Ralph Wilson Stadium, I think. And a lot of us thought, ooh, that might be a concussion. So he plays against Tampa Bay, and then the next game, he's out, they say, a week with a concussion. People say, was it the Steckel hit? And they go, oh, no, he was hit by Victor Hedman, and that's when it happened. If the Pittsburgh Penguins didn't properly diagnose Sidney Crosby, the face of the NHL right now, what does that say about the league's stance on head injuries?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it might have been a case of, especially during the Winter Classic, if you watch the HBO special, they actually follow him into the dressing room after that hit, right? Because it came right at the end of the second, I think. And the guy's dazed. Like, he got his bell rung.
Well, you know, it's interesting you bring that up, because as I was watching that, I was thinking to myself, Sidney Crosby, who is usually a really boring interview and a really kind of robotic, man, he looked like a lost puppy when they were talking to him about the hit. And he's, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So that made me, that kind of caught me off guard too.
Yeah, no, the guy got hit, and you know, I'm not saying there was, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if there was a little pressure to say, listen, we got this Winter Classic. Sidney Crosby's got to go back out on the ice. Are you kidding me? And then, you know.
Well, you know, I'm not so concerned about the rest of the Winter Classic. He played another game.
Tampa Bay game too.
That's where the problem is, because had they say he did have a concussion and they said, well, yeah, I don't know. Oh, you got a headache? Well, okay, it's probably nothing.
Yeah.
Then that's really bad, because there's all this pressure to, you know, to be safe with this kind of stuff. And
no, agreed. So I mean, we're gonna continue on with the good and bad on our last one here. Dwayne Roloson, who we've been talking about for 2 weeks now, starts his Tampa Bay career. The guy was unreal. Shutout against the Capitals, but then the next night plays the Pens, gets lit up. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And so that's the good and bad. On the his teammate as well, Steve Stamkos, scored an unreal goal on a penalty shot. I mean, everybody's probably seen it by now, Jim. That was absolutely unbelievable against Montreal. But then his next penalty shot, he falls just inside the blue line and slides towards the net. It's so comical. I just love it.
Without the puck.
Without the puck. What did you think of those?
Well, for Roloson, oh man, how's this? You start with a new team, you get the Capitals, then you get the Penguins.
No kidding.
Back-to-back nights. That's tough. Gets pulled, put back in, and pulled again.
Yeah.
With Stamkos, oh man, I cannot imagine the feeling of completely messing up a penalty shot like that in another team's barn.
No kidding.
With a packed house, just you on the ice.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Oh,
unbelievable.
Man.
We're going to go to quick hits. We got about 45 seconds here, Jim. Roberto Alomar will go into the Baseball Hall of Fame as a Blue Jay. And seems to be that this is probably the first time that Blue Jay's been inducted in the Hall of Fame. Does hearing that name bring you back to a simpler time, sir?
It does. It does. I remember the posters on my wall and all that good stuff. World Series champions in Canada. Oh, yeah.
Good for Alomar and good for Toronto.
Absolutely.
EA Sports is taking Tiger Woods off the cover of his own video game after sales dropped 60%, Jim. Not sure what happened to make his sales slump like that.
Yeah, there was something. I think he broke up with his girlfriend or something. Or it was that he had a girlfriend in the first place.
He broke up with his girlfriend, his mistress, and his wife. I don't know what it was. Listen, that's our 15 minutes of fame up for this week. Join us again next week when we get a whole new 15 minutes of fame. In the meantime, I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
Have a good night, good week, folks.